You can't see me. Are we live?
We're live.
I don't know why it's always so much fun to say that, even though I know we're live. I think it's all because of Brian Millar and the Omega Squad episode.
Are we live?
Hey, welcome to the Wes Smith Variety ShYo. What's up, Dot? What's up, Agent 137, Kelly Ross?
Nothing much. How are you?
Good, good. So we're late because we're all on playa time. Let's just start there.
That's all right.
And that's kind of what's going on. Hey, Dot, are you excited for Burning Man or what, dude?
I'm always excited for the Burn, man, every year.
That's all we're going to talk about all day today.
That's all we're talking about. I just got my ticket, so we're good.
Yeah, that's the deal. Do you have your ticket, Dot?
Yep.
Sweet. So do I. So then we're all eligible for the variety show today. We all have our tickets.
You got early entry too, right?
Yeah. Hey, so check it out. Anybody listening? I know Dot. How do I know you, man? 2 years now, right?
2 or 3. I think maybe 3.
Maybe 3, dude. Maybe maybe you were one of the first camps I played at. I know you're with Slut Garden. You've always been, or have been for how long with Slut Garden out at Burning Man?
This is my 5th year with Slut Garden.
Sweet, man. Is your 5th? Will it be your 5th burn as well?
No, this is my 7th.
Oh man, Kelly, he's on the life plan.
Yeah, he is on the life plan. He's on the 30-year plan.
7 in a row, man.
Yeah, in a row too. Oh, you're on the life plan.
I'm hooked.
He knows he's on the life plan.
So aside from music, breakbeat, that kind of stuff, tracks, DJing, that's how Dot and I met. Pretty cool. And then we played. I think it was last year. We did the Burn Night, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't remember what happened exactly, but I think I was supposed to, play on the janky bars, and for whatever reason, the people who organized that, I didn't know them directly, so whoever organized it, they had left the Burn, and I didn't know that. Of course, nobody knows that kind of stuff, right? So I went over there, and I'm hanging out, and it's funny because they know who I am. Like, I introduced myself, talked to a few people, so they knew who I was, but they're like, she left. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I was like, just cruising around, having a good time, and I came by Slut Garden, and there was Dot, and I think somebody had not showed up for something you were doing, right?
Yeah, actually, it was a certain UK DJ that we won't.
Yeah, we don't name people here. If they fail at Burning Man, they don't get mentioned.
Right.
That's the decommodification of failure. You don't get named. Any news is not good news because we won't name you.
Right.
And so so we both had a fail, and I swung by, and you're like, dude, you got music? And I was camping right nearby, so I went and got it, came back, and we tag teamed for like, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe longer.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours, dude. It was
long.
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
It was fun. That was definitely one of those spontaneous Burning Man moments. It was awesome. Never forget that one. So what's up at the garden this year? I don't know. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Oh, we're ever changing. We got a lot of new faces. I was given the opportunity by Brad, who is the camp lead, to host a breaks night. So that's what we're doing on Thursday, and with both of you and Kurt's be playing, and then my buddy Kenny White Pupils from Portland, and it should be good, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely
you guys. You know where you're placed yet?
Yeah, 9:15 in Esplanade.
Is that roughly the same place?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome spot right there, man.
It is, dude.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'll never forget that time I played there. I think it was the first time I played there, maybe the year before. And I remember I was playing, and that Pulpo octopus car came up and started shooting fire.
Yep.
And Kelly, I kid you not, man. I mean, Slut Garden's already a cool camp. There's all you know it already, right? The sound system, all that. But then that thing came up and started spitting fire, dude, and it was like It was almost like the gold rush. It was like Slut Garden was Los Angeles and there was gold there or something. And like all these people. Remember that, Dot? It was like pretty late, man. And then all of a sudden,
insane.
What's that?
It was insane. I will never forget that.
Yeah, dude. I still have some rough, very crude video clips of it, but yeah, the fire. And I guess you can see that from so far away that people are like, oh, that must be dope. Like, you know, Popo's there doing a whatever, spitting fire.
And he spits fire to the beat too, so it's like even cooler.
Yeah, man. So, hey, we usually don't have any kind of agenda here, as you may have gathered, either Dot or anyone listening. But I thought since so I'm about to head out to Empire, which is, you know, the little town right on the way there, Dot.
Right.
And I'm camping with the last 3 years I camped with Camp Charlie, and that was awesome. And then this year I'm going to camp with 747, and that's actually. That camp was actually started by some people that started Charlie way back in the day. So that's what I'm doing. So they have, anyway, so I got kind of, you know how it goes with Burning Man. I got recruited to be part of the opportunity to go out there and build the plane. So yeah, so I'm leaving like this weekend, and we'll be out there 2 weeks ahead. So I've never been out there that early. You go without early access, right, Doc?
Yeah, I always go early.
Yeah. And how, like a few days? Like that's all I've been is like a few days early.
Usually I go. I'm usually one of the first people from the camp to be there every year because I got to start building the stage. So I usually get there on like Wednesday before. So you're going way early.
Yeah, I'm going late.
bring extra water, man.
Yeah, I'll be there the Wednesday. I'll be there like Wednesday before the Wednesday you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of cheat, I guess, because I have my trailer. So it's not like it's not cheating, you know, but it is cheating, right?
I mean, it depends on who you ask, really.
I don't think it's cheating, especially if you're there that long.
Let's talk about since all three of us have enjoyed, I would say, you know, the last say 3 to 7 burns consecutively among us. This will be my 4th. Kelly, what, 2nd, 3rd?
This will be my 3rd, not consecutive.
That's right. You dipped out of the life plan.
For 1 year. We'll see. I think I'm worming my way into it back again.
Immediately. So Dot, the reason we keep joking about that is like Kelly and I were cruising around somewhere one of the years she went, and bikes and doing our thing. We stopped by, I think it was this like kind of wood, it was like a camp with a big wood ship, like an art car. It didn't move. Sorry, it's not an art car. It's just an art like thing. It didn't move, and for some reason I feel like it was next to, or it was also a skate ramp. Right, Kelly? Something bizarre like that?
Isn't that's my camp this year, I think.
Skate camp.
Oh,
yeah, skate camp. But
yeah.
no, that wasn't it. Was that it? No, I thought we were riding the mutant vehicles or the mutant bicycles around.
Well, I'm talking about when the lady stopped us. So this lady like talked to us for like 20 minutes, and she had been to like, I don't know, if it's possible to have gone to like 35 burns, she's been to all of them. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't pretend to know when it started, you know, or whether the San Francisco is official or the Flyer or whatever. But anyway, she's been to all of them, was her point. And she told us, she was like, why not commit for life now? And Kelly and I were both like, huh, that's deep. I don't know about that. But
it was like, if you're going to commit to a mortgage for 30 years, why not Burning Man?
That's right. That is exactly what she said. If you're going to commit to a mortgage for 30 years, why not commit to Burning Man?
That's a good point. I mean, I'm hooked. I don't know what I would do if I didn't go. I'd be like, I'd have the worst FOMO ever.
I did last year. It was hard. It was so hard.
Well, Kelly, that's great. Tell us about that, Kelly. Tell us about FOMO after you've decided, I don't need to go to Burning Man.
FOMO, it's kind of one of those like where you're trying not to be bitter about it and everyone's posting about it. Kind of like everyone posting the Forbes article or the Time article or wherever it was coming out of, that Burning Man cost $2,500 to go to. After all said and done, and I just kind of read, you know, a couple people were posting that, and I see it that They probably want to go, but they don't. And it doesn't cost $2,500 to go there. But yeah, I was definitely feeling it. Okay, the first one began in 1986, and that was the first year in the desert. And yeah.
All right. Well, you know, the good part is if you live in Oakland or San Francisco, like Eric Rigsby does, then it's probably costs you less on the average to go.
Correct. Yes. And I'm coming from New York City, and it's probably going to be about $1,000 and then plus food, I would say.
Yeah. What is it like, you think, coming from Seattle, Dot? What do you think it runs without any you know, special treatment or anything? What do you think it takes for a person from Seattle to make it happen?
Depends. Like, if you wanna tent it and you wanna like do like dry food and all that and just bring some water, you could probably pull it off for $1,000.
Yeah, that's me. I'm on the basic plan.
Plus ticket or
yeah. Well, I mean, actually, you could probably do it for $1,000 with your ticket.
Yeah.
But that's like super like roughing it, like Bear Grylls style.
That's like showing up at everybody's camp looking for that gift meal.
You're like drinking your own piss and stuff.
And,
you're like rehydrating. You're like going to Bubbles and Base at 5 a.m. to get that champagne breakfast every day.
Dude, I hated that camp. No, it's so funny because their camp literally right next to Slut Garden last year, right?
I know, man.
And as soon as our music shuts off, theirs starts. So we got 0 sleep the entire week.
Yeah.
And we were like drawing straws to see who was gonna run over there and like cut their power to their generator. It was like,
screw your Bubbles and your big.
The struggle is real when you're next to Bubbles and Base. Or if you end up like Charlie last year, I don't know how many people, maybe it was 125, 150. I don't have official numbers, but definitely over 100, I'm guessing. And my trailer was like right next to the chill area. And there's nothing about chill at a chill area at like Sunrise at Burning Man. It's like everybody's rolling through looking for that extra thick man-sized bacon. Everyone's trying to scrounge around the kitchen, bang some pots, you know, things like that. Speaking of Burning Man, real quick, Dot and Kelly both, we've actually never had an official piece of mail to talk about on the show. And I'm not even sure that people even send mail anymore, but I am sure they do now. So I'm just going to hold this little piece of mail up from Steph and Johnny in Detroit. I never ever thought about doing this, like on any kind of video TV thing, but you can read it. And so these are some pals from Detroit that love juice and love my music. And they made me, in time for Burning Man, they made me. Some of you may remember this song I did called Swag Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they made me, Rave Candy.
Oh, I saw that online, yeah.
Swag Out. And then they did all the lyrics.
Yep.
Bad Mouth.
Bad Mouth. See, that's stepping it up. I just had to transcribe the lyrics for you. They made bracelets for it.
That's the game. And then on top of that, they then went on out on the artistic limb to make a few little reminders, very Burning Man style. Blame yourself. You know, things like that. Funk yeah.
Funk yeah.
And this is my all-time favorite, only because, well, you'll know why. But because the first person to make one of these for me was Colin, who we refer to as Young Colin every now and then, who helps run the Juice label. And he gave me one of these when I first met him a couple years back. And then it kind of wore out, so she made a new one.
Yo. It's yo. It's yo.
So I'm all candied up for Burning Man. What you got? What you got going on this year, Dot? You got anything special you're dragging out in terms of costume or?
I mean, I get weird, dude. I get
well, we're allowed to. The good thing about this is we're allowed to get weird as we want on here.
Well, I have an Oscar the Grouch costume.
Yes.
I love it.
I have a flying monkey costume from Wizard of Oz that I rock every year.
Is that the one with the arms that go down, like the heavy arms?
No, it's just the wings, and it's got
Okay.
the suspenders, and I've got the monkey tail. I've got that like fur hat thing.
Yeah.
Pretty legit.
Yeah.
I found it at a red light in Seattle in the basement for like $20, and I couldn't pass it up.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, I've got some weird costumes going on this year. I'm definitely gonna represent. But yeah, it's gonna be weird because I'm so on this like Fraktured promotion thing that like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's okay if I bring a bunch of shirts out there and hand them out to people. You know?
Oh, Fraktured?
Yeah.
You know, that's always a big question at Burning Man, isn't it? What a great segue to talk about Fraktured. What's going on with it, man? I know you've been busy with it, so lay it down. What's going on?
I mean, so basically, Broken Grooves ended right after you played.
You broke it. You broke that shit.
And
I should note that Dot is from Seattle or based in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So Broken Grooves was the longest running weekly breakbeat night in the world. We had a 16-year run. It was an amazing run. Shout out to all the people who made it happen. You know, Scott, Rob, Brian, all those cats are dope. You know, love those guys. And I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at without those guys. They paved the way for what I'm doing now. And but so Broken Grooves died, and I was like, dude, there's nothing. No one's playing breaks right now, and it was just killing me, and because that's my thing, man. I've always been my thing. So I was like, you know what? I can't let this happen, and I started this night. It was a monthly. It was called Broke Off. It was at this club called the Underground that is like a iconic venue in Seattle. And
is that the one I played at when I came there this year?
That's the venue that you played at.
Cool. All right.
So that didn't last very long because it was just the location wasn't right, the timing wasn't right, everything about it just. I mean, I tried it. It didn't really work out. That's okay. I'm not a quitter. So so January came along and everything kind of just lined up, and I found this venue, and I found this group of cats that are as passionate about breaks as I am, and we got together and we were like, you know, let's make this happen. Let's start another weekly, and let's do it on Sunday, which worked out because now we're on the same block as a house night called Flammable, which happens to be the longest running house night in the United States. That's a weekly. And it's on Sunday nights, so we're basically like a block party now. And so we've got Fraktured next door. And then I just was networking with some people, you know, and talked to some cats in Portland and some cats in Phoenix and some cats in Bend, and they just kind of jumped on, and we just, you know, we're like, we might as well work together if we all love the same thing and do it under one name, you know, and now we can book tours.
Right.
And so it went from one night to 2 nights to 3 nights to 4 nights, and I got some other stuff going on right now. I can't announce it yet, but there's definitely 3 or 4 more nights in the works. So it's
so where are they now? Where are the ones that are going on now?
So I've got Portland, I've got Seattle, I've got Phoenix, and we have Bend launching immediately after the burn. Bend is in Oregon as well. Mm-hmm. It's a college town. It's an amazing place to play, man. It's dope.
I went there last year I went there last year on a road trip. I was road tripping up to Canada. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Bend is cool. Whereabouts in Bend? I mean, Bend's not huge, but it's got a lot of it's concentrated, you know, and there's not a lot of. It's not like it's flooded with, you know, venues and stuff, so it's pretty concentrated, I guess, for the people that are there, right?
Right. So there's a venue called the Capitol Club. It's crazy because you go in this place and you walk down the stairs, and it just opens up. It's huge, and you can't tell from the street. It looks like this little shitty dive bar, and then you go inside and you're like, "Whoa, dude, where did this come from?" They got the stage projecting on the stage and stuff. The sound is dope. And there's a couple of guys down there. They run a crew called Slipmat Science, and they've been doing it for like over 15 years. and they're breaks heads, and they're down. They're the dude's name is Travis Owens, and his brother's name is Nathaniel. So yeah, they're good people, man. Everyone involved is just dope. It's been like
so reel off some of the parties you've had. I think I know I've seen a few of them, but what are I think the bigger ones have been in Seattle, or maybe they were in all 4 places. I don't know. What are some of the
so I had Head Flux in Seattle, then we had Keith and Decline play together, and then I had Crafty Cuts play on my birthday, and then Curtis B came through, and I've got Stranger from LA. He's gonna play in October, and then that's Seattle. And then we had Curtis B play in Phoenix and in Portland as well.
Right.
And so, and then we had Josh. He goes by 8-Bit. He's from Texas.
Oh yeah.
Had him up in Portland. So and then next month they've got what's his name? I'm having a brain fart. Damn it. I'll come back to it. But yeah, we've got some big names coming through, and people have been really welcoming to it. It's been pretty impressive. I was really.
Are the others? So Seattle's on a Sunday. What are the others?
So Portland is on Saturday, and then Phoenix is on Friday. I think Bend is going to be on Friday as well. Just another on like an opposite week, so that nothing's interfering with each other, and we can still book these tours out. That's my plan, is to kind of stagger these nights so that I can grab an artist and have them playing like 6, 7, 8 shows at a time, and just have these Fraktured tours come through and maybe make it a mobile party and eventually make it a festival.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely, like, especially just the whole artist touring thing. It's awesome to be developing a place for people to be able to do 3 or 4 shows, because you can certainly cut down on all of the planning and logistics nightmare that is touring. You can certainly, share some of the cost savings, I would imagine, as well with artists, because you're cutting down on all these logistic problems and whatever. I mean, it's a nightmare, dude. Planning, I don't know how these people do like these. They must have software that's like the flight attendants have for airlines, like, I don't know if you ever thought about that shit, but I trip out on stuff like, I don't know, everybody trips out on their own weird things. But for me, like, every time I board a plane, I'm like, dude, I don't know how these people all make it on time. Like, this is just a crazy pile of like people planning, like all this stuff. Like they fly, they work like a regular 8-hour day, like that's the goal for flight attendants, right? So it's like working in cabin service crews. So it's like an 8 to 10 hour day. I think they average it out on the week. It's supposed to be 40 or 50, some normal labor type thing. But like, how crazy must that get when they have like a plane that's late, or they do a turnaround and come back, and then someone's sick, and I think like there's aviation laws that require like the number of people that have to be on the plane given the number of passengers, all that stuff, right? It just seems like a crazy amount of stuff to keep track of. So touring as a solo artist or a band may not be as much to keep up with, but it's definitely a lot, trying to juggle like promoters and producers and sound people and artwork and all of it. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a pain in the ass, dude. So there's a funny story that goes along with that. So me and Kurt were playing in Phoenix together, and we got up in plenty of time, got all our stuff together, went and got some food, and then we got stuck in traffic on the way to the airport, right? And we didn't plan for it because we didn't know. All of a sudden there was like a major crazy wreck, and so we got to the airport at like at 1:45, and our flight was leaving at 2:10, right? And we ran. I left my DJ gear and just took my backpack and my laptop. I was like, dude, I'll get it later. You just send it to me. And I jumped out and we ran, and we somehow made it through the security checkpoint and to the gate within 5 minutes of the gate closing, and then we look up and our flight was delayed by an hour. So we made it. We made it. It was crazy. We're like running red lights and like it was like Dukes of Hazzard style, right on the way to the airport. And then we get there, and we're like track stars running through the airport. And then we get there and we're both like dying out of breath, and we look up and our flight's delayed. And then it got delayed again. And then it got delayed again, and we ended up getting to Portland because we were connecting flight from Phoenix to Portland. We ended up getting there at like 8 o'clock instead of like 3 o'clock when we were supposed to get there.
Are you like an angry flyer? Like, are you one of those people that gets all crazy when flight's late or you don't get your peanuts or whatever?
No, I just laugh. I think it's funny. I'm one of those.
I mean, I don't think I was ever that way, but I definitely can tell you nowadays, like I'm just as chill as can be, dude. Like, baby, it's like the top list, the 5 top list, right? It's like baby's crying. I'm like, oh, I got this. I got some earplugs, headphones, you know? It's like, you know, big person sitting next to you. It's like, all right, I'm small, you know, I'm okay. Somebody snoring like so loud. It's like wearing one of those bass packs in a chair.
So bad, yeah.
You're just like, oh, I'm gonna put some drum and bass on and listen to the wobble with it. You know, right. Like just laugh. Or like my favorite is like the couple that like maybe the newlyweds or just infatuated new love couple that didn't plan ahead, and they like one of them's got like sitting in the middle where you are, and the other's like over on the other aisle, and they're like, hi, would you mind changing seats with us? And you're just like, is there a kid somewhere or a baby or someone that needs the seat? Because if you mean so y'all can sit next to each other and hold hands, I mean, you know, I'm not sure that's gonna work.
You're not a gangster in love.
Well, I don't know. You know, like it may sound like terribly selfish, but the way I look at seats is like this. It's like, okay, if I didn't plan ahead or I had a book late or whatever it was, and I end up in a middle seat, I know that, and I just tough it up and take my middle seat. So if I plan ahead and I get, you know, you go all on, you know, bestairlineseats.com or whatever site you like that tells you all about where to sit and which plane and all that stuff, because, you know, that's all there. And then you go to the trouble to do your planning, and you got your seat and you're sitting there. And then someone comes up who clearly didn't plan, and it's like, now they want you to sit in the middle, like, be like at the exit row, right near that little box that's in this thing in front of you. You know, like the seat in front of you is gonna have that little like battery box or something where your feet don't fit, and they want you to switch over and take that so that they can sit together for an hour and a half. I'm like, nah. Yeah. Yeah. If you're over like 80, I'm cool with it. And if you're like, I don't know, maybe some other kind of, I've never had it happen, so I don't know. But I'm guessing it. You know, if it was something I maybe was sympathetic to, but not if it's poor planning, nah. Right?
I think it's a lot easier if you're traveling solo too, because I think we all travel enough that, you know, it is what it is. Like you said, you know, you get too much going on, pop in your headphones and go to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm always on the computer.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always on the computer too. And then everyone's like, what are you doing? What's that you got there?
Hey, so I brought a few little props today. Okay. I don't normally do this, but I thought since we have 3 reasonably seasoned Burning Man people, 7, 10, 14 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. I found this the other day, actually. I mean, it was mine, but I didn't remember that I owned it. You ever seen one of these? It's pretty cool.
No.
It's a battery pack, but it charges off a little personal solar panel.
Wow, that thing's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to use it this year to well, I'll show you what I'm going to use it for. So for people, throw out some things, Dot, that you would highly recommend be on the top of somebody's must-have at Burning Man list.
Baby wipes.
Baby wipes. That's a winner. What's yours, Kelly?
Chapstick.
Chapstick.
Yeah.
All right.
Or coconut oil.
I'm going with sunblock.
Sunblock. Oh no, we don't need that.
Pretty damn important. I'm going with sunblock, and I'm going with zip ties.
Zip ties.
Zip ties are a winner.
Yep, zip ties. We got a whole thing of zip ties downstairs, ready to go.
Now let me point out something to the average person. If you're new to zip ties, you may think zip ties are simple, but this is the kind of zip tie to buy.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little hole at the top. So after you put that thing through there like so, you got that nice little hole right there. And you could put a carabiner through that or a piece of coat hanger or whatever you need to do. And you could almost build a house with these things.
That's true, though.
You totally could.
You can definitely fix a tent with them.
Yeah.
You could like weave a whole tent together after a dust storm, couldn't you, Dot?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's done it before.
All right, I got another piece of. Hold on a second. What's another one, Dot, from your list?
Sunglasses.
Oh, that's key. Kelly, what about another one from your list?
I'm gonna go with goggles and a face cover.
Goggles and a face cover.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And a bicycle.
No.
Bicycle? No bicycles, huh?
Dot hates bicycles. He hates them. You told me.
Here's my next one that's not all that important, but it's definitely, well, costuming stuff, right? You need costuming stuff.
He's pretty into it. He has like a cooling vest and a heated vest and a.
This year I'm adding to the arsenal my super special Star Trek seatbelt belt.
Oh, wow. I have a seatbelt belt, but that's
dope.
Mine's not that fancy.
And I found these like really cool like Velcro carabiner thingies that would fit on it just perfect.
Cool.
So previously I was lame and I would wear my construction tool belt around with all my stuff on it. So I thought I'd up my game this year. So, although construction tool belt is a pretty daggum good utility.
Yeah.
What are you gonna hang from the belt?
Garters.
I don't know. Water bottle is good, right? Because you want to have that water bottle. Sometimes, depending on time of day, flask. You know.
Flask. Okay.
Oh, I know. One other thing. The reason I actually found it or looked for it was because, you know, my vest that I have. I didn't bring that to show. But my vest that I have that has the LED lights all over it,
yeah,
I made that. So the problem is the battery, you know, it's a battery pack problem. So I found this thing. It was like $20. You know, it looks like one of those USB battery, you know, things, which is kind of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the USB, 2 USBs on them. And but it's also got a flashlight on it there. I think I never actually used it yet, but it's charged. But anyway, I don't know how you get the flashlight. Come on. But anyhow. Bottom line is, I think because it's light enough, I think I'm gonna hang this from the belt and then have 2 USB things power my LED lights. So they'll be blinking bright.
Pew, pew.
That's for Dot's Thursday night breaks party, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure I got my vest with my lights kicking for that.
I will not be bringing one of those to that, but I will be there.
What else? Dot, where else you playing, man? While you're there.
So I am playing on the Christina, and then I'm playing on Hugzilla. It's just a camp. It's I think it's on 10 and J on Thursday. On Wednesday, and then Slut Garden a bunch, and there's a couple other spots I haven't confirmed yet, but I'm gonna be busy.
Imagine that. Spots you haven't confirmed yet.
Right.
What about you, Kelly? What do you got going on?
I've got.
You got your ticket, so who knows if you even got anything planned yet?
Oh no, I was all planned to go. I've got everything. I've got it all planned out. I just didn't have my ticket. I'm playing on the Christina also. New York Dangerous.
What is that? Are you guys playing the same night?
I think Nick and I are playing on Monday, but we're gonna try and move it to Tuesday. I didn't tell Nick that yet, so maybe Well, he originally asked if I wanted Monday or Tuesday, so maybe he might want to switch it. And then Wednesday is New York Dangerous, I think, and Camp Proper. You know, do you remember Mingjing from Camp Charlie?
Yep.
She and I are playing together. She's gonna do
Plays violin, right?
yeah, she's gonna play violin while I play drum and bass.
Awesome. That's gonna be
Awesome. Yep. And then Slut Garden on Thursday, and then I'm not doing anything after Thursday.
nice. I've got Sunday night. I'm doing the duck pond party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Let's see, Monday night. No, Sunday night that. Then Tuesday night, Dusty Rhino. I've done that every year, and that's a lot of fun. They usually let me play at the end, like 3 o'clock till sunrise. That's super awesome. And then let's see, what are the others? Another camp that's over. I forget the name of it because they keep changing it, but it's the guys from San Diego that are like backcountry and miscreants, but they call the camp something else at Burning Man, like Swamp Ass or something funny. Something funny. But it's way over. It's way over. Like, it's actually not way over because 747 this year is over like 230 in G. So it's somewhere near there on that side. So I have to make a hike to come over, of course. Yeah, so that and then Slut Garden, right? So those are the 4. I got 4 lined up right now, which is that's nice, and that's kind of about like what you guys have. And I think, you know, as a pro tip to anyone listening who's like dreaming of Burning Man and maybe playing there or something, I think 4 is a good number.
It is, absolutely.
Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I think there might be a couple of other ones in there, and I'm hoping that they don't come through.
I mean, I think like all the ones we all mentioned are pretty like they're either a big party or there's like it's moving around the playa like the Christina, or there's, you know, but there's some amount of busyness to it, right? And so that's I find that hard to do 8 of those or 6 of those or whatever.
Yeah, it sucks to have to find where you're going, and it's a moving target.
Yeah, like I think if you were gonna play like some chill sets where they're making pancakes or something in the morning, that could be totally relaxing, maybe.
Yeah.
If you make it on time. but yeah, 4 or 5 I think is it's a lot. So Dada, did anything going on with I guess we can talk about it later, but I didn't what's going on with for Burn Night? Do you know yet?
I don't actually. I need to hit Brad up about that, but I would plan for it.
That's still a possibility. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I left it open just in case that happens, because with already having 4 other things, it's not like I'm in some kind of panic to do stuff.
But that was epic, dude. It really was. It really was.
Yeah. Everything about that, dude. I don't know. And you know, that was my first night staying for the Burn. I had to leave early the 2 years prior.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. That was my first like Burn Night experience, especially after having it bojangled over on the other art car. So, or what it was.
It worked out really well.
Yeah, and I don't think that was anything to do with the other art car. It's just how it happened. What else you got? Give me something else on your list, Dot, for Burning Man essentials. I know there's some people checking this out or that are interested in Burning Man stuff.
Definitely a cup. You need a cup.
Yeah. A cup. And if you have a cup, you need a carabiner for the cup.
Absolutely.
Or a cup with a carabiner on it.
That's awesome too.
As the handle.
I haven't seen one where it's the handle. Yes.
Yeah, I got one of those this year.
Of course you would find that.
Of course. And also, I got collapsible dog bowls that have like a hook on them that you can do a carabiner, but they're like silicone, but they're dog bowls.
Oh, I've seen those things. That's sweet. That's some material science right there, huh?
Oh yeah, it's like $5.
I have a suggestion. If you're looking for carabiners, you know, upgrade from these aren't climbing carabiners. They're not expensive. So you can get like 10 of these for like $6 on Amazon. But this little screw thing, most people have probably seen that, but it's really nice because then you don't lose your jams, right? Hey, you know, someone asked me the other day, Dot, what about the ID on the cup thing, the photocopy of the ID, right? Because, you know, you got to have your ID with you. And I always forget mine, but it's mostly just because I don't want to bring my license with me. Are you allowed to have a photocopy? Does that work?
I think it should work as far as I know. But that is a great idea, actually, because I mean, most places won't give you a drink without a cup. So
right. So I've even heard some people say that you should photocopy it and laminate it to your cup.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Or like laminate it and then tape it to your cup, right? Like that sounds like a great idea, right?
that is a good idea. I mean, gonna do that.
It would be really hard to forget your ID or cup that way, right?
How about you lose your cup? You need 2 cups. You need a backup cup.
And I guess you're gonna have to make 2 photocopies of your ID.
Oh shit! You're getting fancy.
I think that people should have a fanny pack or a backpack of some sort. That's kind of a necessity as well.
Yeah. I think too, like if you get maybe like 2 camelbacks and have one for the morning and one for at nighttime, because then you could put all your nighttime lights in it and just go and grab it. Because the last thing I think that you want to do is pack stuff. Everything is very fast moving, as relaxing as it is there.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty prepared this year. I think because I knew I had to get ready so far in advance.
Yeah.
I think I've been like a little bit maniacal about it. But I'm also at the same time, there's kind of a little bit of a zen of preparedness that's come over me. Like, oh, I got that. Because I'll be thinking of stuff. You know how you do. It's like you're about to go back to school, right? It's the closest thing I can think of to like you're about to go back to like 8th grade. And then right before you're all like, right, Dot? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
The night before you're all like, I wonder if my shirt's going to look good and if Sally's going to be there.
Whoa.
Right? Is she going to be there?
That girl.
I wonder what she did this summer. That kind of stuff. What else? Do I have anything else that's kind of spurs some interest? LED lights. You guys both mentioned that, but I'm going to say it again because you cannot emphasize enough how important it is to not be stupid walking around dark.
Not L-wire. LED lights. No more L-wire.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Make sure you're lit up. Always.
No solar anything.
People get.
I don't use L-wire, but what's your L-wire problem, Kelly?
Oh, L-wire it dies. It just dies like throughout the night. So, like you see those people with the really, really, really low glow.
Yeah.
And it's not feasible anymore. They've got LED lights. Like all you need to do is get LED lights and they're super bright. Like they're almost obnoxiously bright.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally, so just for anybody that wants to really know like dollars and cents of this, you can literally buy, this is a 12-volt LED light. That's
stuff.
This is 15 meters or 15 feet or no, it's meters, something like that. It's long. Anyway, you could pretty much just wrap this thing around. You could choke yourself with this thing, but this is a 12-volt strip, which you can't use with a normal USB thing. So like battery pack like this. So this like USB battery pack, just for any nerds or non-nerds that need to know what's up. This puts out 5 volts. That's what those USB chargers put out is 5 volts. It says it right on it, but a lot of people don't read. So but you can get a strip of these just like this. It's just a weather dust waterproof strip of LED lights. It's got a cool little piece of double stick like tape that peels off the back, which is kind of worthless out in the dust, but just letting you know it's there. And what I do with this stuff is I basically zip tie it or sew it to my vest or to my pants or whatever I want, or my bicycle. I use the same stuff for all of it. And then I can just plug it in. The 5-volt version, you can just plug it in to the to any standard cell phone charger battery pack thing and light it up.
Yeah. And you can cut those too. So if you
you can cut these right. Yeah, y'all use the same thing or probably have. There's 4 little dots there. You can cut right between those dots and make it shorter or whatever.
Damn right.
Skills pay the bills.
Skills pay the bills.
What else, Dot? Anything else you can think of?
Water.
You need to have a ticket and some friends.
Water.
More water. Dot's just gonna answer water every time I say that.
All right, liquor.
People don't realize like
Tequila.
how much water you need out there. you know, because it's a completely different environment.
Yeah, there is always a chance of hurting yourself in any number of ways, anywhere, especially out there. But ironically, out of all the crazy stuff you'll see out there, I agree with Dot. The two things you'll see the most of is somebody either sunburned or dehydrated or both. Yeah. Right?
Usually comes in pairs.
And it's bad news. You when you get dehydrated, it is bad news, man. You feel terrible. You have to go to the infirmary. It takes out 2 or 3 days from your plan, if not send your ass home. It's bad news. You can die from it too. But I never seen that out there or even heard of it from anyone I knew.
You don't want to be sent home. You don't want to go to Burning Man and get sent home because you got dehydrated. That's just silly.
No. That's really expensive. At $2,000, that's an expensive ass sunburn.
$2,300. Yeah, exactly.
You'll be like, man, I listened to the variety show, but I didn't want to listen to Dot and Kelly and Wes.
No, I do my own thing.
As you're on that slow ass ride from Gerlach all the way back to Reno.
Yeah.
With all kind of sad face and FOMO.
So what's a nice to have thing? Like not something that you need, but like something that you after you've been there for 2 weeks and you're just kind of lacking, and somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Here, what would that be?"
Otter Pops.
What is it?
Otter Pops.
Otter Pops.
Oh, that's how you win friends and influence people right there. Yeah. You're like Dot, give us a good Otter Pop story, Dot. You gotta have one.
Dude, I have a bunch actually.
Please bring it.
So I brought my RV last year. That was the first time I brought an RV out there, and I literally filled the entire refrigerator up with Otter Pops. It's pretty much what I lived on for the entire week. And of course, I'm at Slut Garden, and I'm giving Otter Pops to all the hot girls that are dancing in the shadow boxes.
Yep.
And yeah, I got a lot of return people from that. It was fun. We'll say that. I'm just gonna keep it at that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Otter Pops.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's like one of those things where the Otter Pops, where if you or something like that, man, if you were rolling around the playa with like your little Yeti cooler and some Otter Pops and dry ice, you would be like probably become the fucking
the man. That's what he's saying. That's what happened.
Yeah, you'd be like the stuff of, you'd be like the stuff of legends if you just rode back and forth with like your little hat on this is my paddleboarding hat.
Yeah,
picture it like if you just cruised around out by the dust fence looking for Daft Punk, and you had your Yeti cooler with some dry ice and Otter Pops, and you handed those to everybody, like Dot, I can guarantee you they would not care if you were handing out Fraktured shirts at the same time.
Like, Otter Pop, Fraktured.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can make Fraktured Pops.
Ooh, this is where ideas are born.
Huh. Yeah, I like that.
That's how you make friends.
You've got time. You could probably find a way to get like a little, Dot, you're a construction guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have experience there, right? So you could get like what am I thinking of? Like those, that shrink thing that electricians use. You ever seen that stuff? I'm sure there's something like that you could have like Fraktured printed on, and then like make that the sleeve of the Otter Pop or something.
That's a good idea.
Something like that, because they don't need to be frozen while you're holding. Like they could just be room temperature, right? You put that thing on, and then you freeze them, and they have the Fraktured on them. Yeah, I think that if you can attach your brand name to an Otter Pop, in my opinion, that is an exception to the decommodification rule.
I think so too, actually.
As long as you don't leave the plastic out by the trash fence, I'm good with you.
Right.
Yep. No move.
So another thing I want to touch on for the people watching this is you got to take care of your feet. Like that is huge out there.
Yeah.
You can't have playa foot or your burn is ruined.
Explain playa foot, please.
Playa foot is it's like athlete's foot on steroids, basically. It's terrible. I had it my first year because I danced too hard, and by the end of it, my feet were bleeding and cracking, and I didn't have a bike, and I walked around the playa, and I still managed to do all my things that I wanted to do, but I literally had to take off a week of work afterwards because I couldn't wear my work boots. It was so bad.
Oh my God.
How do you so what is the Dot Diggler 10-point foot care plan on playa?
So you gotta make sure that you have vinegar, right? Because it counteracts the alkaline in the playa dust.
Okay.
First off, take a vinegar. Give your dogs a vinegar bath every day. Make sure you gotta put new socks on. Not ankle socks either. They got to be tube socks so they come up so the playa doesn't get down in there.
Yeah.
You got to have good shoes, either boots, some kind of boot that seals it up. You don't want to walk around. I mean, this is my experience anyway. I don't want to walk around with sandals on out in playa, dude.
The only time I wear sandals out there is from my sleeping quarters to the shower.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, the feet are crucial, man, because it will ruin your burn. But I guess if you have a bike, it's not so bad. But my thing about bikes is if you're on a bike, you're in a rush to get to where you're going, right? And you tend to miss some really cool stuff that you wouldn't normally see if you were on foot because you're slowed down a little bit and you get to see everything around you. Versus being on a bike, you're from point A to point B and it's go, 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 go. I got to get to where I'm going.
Right.
So that's just a little tip that I have to people.
Do you take a bike or no?
No.
No, you don't. Interesting. Huh. I've always had a bike there. I mean, I don't have a special bike. I just have my bike, my beach cruiser that I use here in San Diego. So I didn't really think about it. But I can totally understand what you mean about the going slower part because I've ridden a different bike before, like up and down the coast of California, and it's a totally different experience, man. Totally different experience.
I actually had a bike for 2 days last year, and it was gifted to me when we were on our way there, and I put a blow-up doll on it, a mini blow-up doll that actually looked exactly like me. I even put a dot on it and like gave it a goatee. And someone thought it was so cool that they stole my bike. So I was like,
oh man,
like,
don't steal people's shit on playa.
Yeah,
that's one of those things. I mean, it's just the way it is anywhere, I guess. But it's one of those things. Stealing stuff is like one of those things where, especially in an environment of trust, it's like now that you got on that bike and rode it away and it wasn't yours.
You knew it wasn't yours.
Like you knew it wasn't yours.
That was not your blow-up doll. You know
right?
it. You know.
You knew, because, I mean, I guess it's one thing if it's just a total generic, maybe black Stingray beach cruiser and there's 40 of them out there. But you pretty much know, like, if you're at District and there's 400 bicycles, right? 1,000 bicycles. When you go, you're done partying and you go to find your bike and you get on a bike and it's not your bike, it's not your bike.
That's not your bike.
Absolutely.
Right? Like the seat's not right, so if you come out of a party, I think rule of thumb is if you have to adjust the seat or, the rear view mirror, because some bikes have that, or maybe it has like a horn or a squeaky toy that you didn't have when you came to District, then you probably shouldn't get on and ride off with that bike, right?
My bike is coming in from I think Colorado this year. Somebody's bringing one for me, and it's all furry. It's like pastel and furry. Dot, you'll love it.
Nice.
Hey, I got another one. I got an ad. I made a post on it today. It's so important to me. Is bring some rope.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can. What I didn't mention in a little article. This is a piece of paracord right here. Nice and tough.
Yep.
You can buy a 50 or 100-foot piece of paracord for about less than $5 at Home Depot. And I'm telling you, you could do a lot of stuff with a piece of paracord. Like, for example, you could tow your friend on their bike back into camp or something like that.
On the blow up doll bike.
Or you could wrap it around the blow up doll on someone else's bike. I mean, whatever. But this stuff is awesome. It's only about an 1/8 inch thick, as you can kind of see. And I think it's rated for like 150 pounds workload, which means it can have 150 pounds pulling on it like that constantly. And then it's something like a 400-pound peak load. So like if the wind snaps and it's super crazy with whatever you've got it connected to, in theory, it could stand up to a lot of stuff like that. So, you know, it's great stuff for to have it, because when you least expect it, you're going to get there and be like, you got your tent set up, everything's cool. And then you're going to look around and be like, huh, I see some other tents that have like some extra rebar and some extra cables running from their tent stakes to their tent. I wonder if I should do that. And then you'll think to yourself, I should have listened to those 3 on the variety show.
You can never have enough rope.
No, I got to write down paracord.
But I think the reason I wanted to show this one is because I think one of the kind of confusing points for people is like they think they need like a rope that you're going to pull like a ship into the harbor with or something. And it's really not necessary. Like this stuff is pretty intense stuff. If you put a piece of this and a rebar stake in addition to whatever's going on with your tent or shade structure or whatever, that's a whole lot of, that's 500-600 pounds of tensile strength holding your shade down, in addition to whatever might have come from Coleman or REI rental or whatever it is. I've actually used rope before to, because my trailer, Dot, my trailer has only got 2 wheels. It's like a single axle.
Right.
So I forgot my little stabilizer things that I would put in the back. And so when the wind kicks up, it starts moving everywhere. I've even used this stuff to stabilize the back of the trailer a little bit. Like put 2 pieces of rebar, in on the outsides of the trailer and then rope it from the back bumper. And it's not as good as jacking it up, but it definitely helps.
So I got another tip for new people is instead of using rebar to tie down whatever your structure, your tent, whatever, you buy lag screws, like 16-inch lag screws, and you use a drill and you actually drill into the ground, and they stay better and they're easier to pull out, and it's easier to tie it to because they have that nut on the end that you can actually wrap.
Where do you get a 16-inch lag screw? I like the idea.
Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere like that.
Okay. Are they metal or plastic?
Yeah, they're metal.
What is something like that?
I mean, you can probably get like 6 or 8 of them for $20.
So that's not bad. You only need about 6 or 8 for a person's tent and shade.
Right.
Plus, double them up and use them for both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I like that. I have used a number of different things in the past, and I got to agree that sounds like probably one of the best ideas, because the only other thing that's worked reasonably well was rebar that was intended to be used as stakes, because rebar that's not intended to be used as stakes, it's like you got to get you need like a 1/2-inch piece of rebar, 1/2-inch diameter, and then it's got a square cut end, which is a real pain in the ass to nail it, to pound into the sand or the playa, which is hard. And then, like you said, the top is just this flat cut off piece of rebar. If you don't tilt it right or pitch it right, you got to get the rope, what you tie to it situated correctly so it doesn't slip up or down and then cause slack, right?
Yeah.
So many things, dude. So I found these pieces of rebar that have like a hook welded to them at the top, and then they have, they're properly spiked at the bottom. So I haven't used them out at Burning Man yet, but I gave them a test run out here at this place we got called Fiesta Island. It's not beach sand. It looks like it, but it's really super hard, like the playa. So We'll see, but I'll probably be cussing myself and wishing I had 16-inch lag screws.
Yeah, they work really well. Another thing you can do is you can use like it's kind of a pain in the ass, but you can use like an impact gun, you know, like it's like a mini jackhammer, and you can weld a socket to it, and then you just put it over the top of the rebar and you just pound it in with the, you know, you can use a battery powered one or a powered one and just pound the stakes in that way, or the rebar or whatever. It's a pretty good trick for if you're gonna drive a lot of rebar in the ground.
Right.
You probably want to invest in one of those things.
Yeah, that's like getting into like camp. That's like getting into like camp management. You know,
Right.
like you're showing up like me and you know, a week or 2 weeks early and setting up a whole bunch of stuff, like a lot of the same shit over and over and over, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal, and you need bigger rope for that, folks. I'm just telling you. But you know, it's surprising. Even bigger rope is not that expensive. You know, like you can get pretty good, like 300, 400 pound tensile strength, you know, working load rope, nylon, you know, braided rope with a it has different kind of centers that they braid it around. But you know, you can get ½ inch even for, you know, 100-foot piece of it. It's just larger to carry, but it's not really that much more expensive. I mean, it'd be like $12 or something for 100 feet of ½ inch rope. And that's like enough you could tow an art car around with that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Which could come in really handy. Kelly, you got any more Burning Man suggestions for the fine folks out there?
No, I don't know. I think, maybe.
What about DJ? What about DJing? Give us some DJ tips, like DJ, because there's tips to everything that you would normally do. You gotta have tips out there.
Bring extra USBs and have the expectation that it just might not happen. Like it just, things happen, you know, especially with sensitive equipment. Most people just bring out like kind of crappy controllers and stuff, like just to have. Not you guys. Slut Garden is top on that, but yeah, I would say expectation that it might not happen.
Yeah, if there was ever a place where like all-in-one controllers were welcome, it's Burning Man.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's why I have one.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. And your computer,
Yeah.
You might, unless you got a really slick setup like they do at Slut Garden. I think I've seen a pretty good one like at District. A couple others where they're not really exposed a lot if the dust kicks up, or they've got some kind of professional plan in place where they kind of cover things up tighter if that happens. Like a real booth, which is not that common out there. But if you're in an art car, for sure, you don't want to have like your computer and your stuff that you want to go back home with and use it later.
Right, exactly.
But the other thing is I think you can get a lot of equipment cleaned professionally too. Do you know, Dot? Like audio equipment, can you get like, you know?
Oh, I'm sure. I just clean it myself because I don't trust anybody else.
Yeah, maybe you may be handier than most, but I think you could take. It's not crazy to take a piece of whatever you had out there down to like, you know, Guitar Center or some service shop, and I think like $50 they blow it all out and clear it out.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Especially if it's something expensive like CDJ 2000s. That almost makes me cry when I see brand new ones out there because I'm thinking to myself, man, that's like, you see 4 of those, it's like, oh, that's like $8,000 worth of CDJ 2000. You know?
Down the drain.
It could be like, they're like one dust storm away from being on the parts section at eBay.
Right.
That's true. Maybe they just do that afterwards.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't know. I guess if your camp raises the money, I mean, I guess if it's not that big a deal, I suppose. But yeah, that's crazy stuff, man. So what else we got going on, folks? I think we Burning Manned it. We Burning Manned it to death. If you didn't get some good tips out of that I don't know what other tips we could give you then.
I have a question that's off topic.
Do it.
Dot, what is in the name? Dot Diggler.
Oh yeah, bring it. Bring it. I don't even know. Come on, man.
So So there's the Dot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, that's what you were talking about on the blow up doll. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I had the blow up doll with and you guys have seen the movie Boogie Nights, right?
Yep.
Of course.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Okay. All right. It's what I thought it was.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
think-
mean, the Boogie Nights thing is basically just the whole idea of being a DJ and in the disco thing or whatever, you know, and it was just kind of funny and it stuck.
Right.
And it was memorable, so I was like, all right, I'll just go with it because it was just Dot. And then like I got online and I saw that there was like a whole bunch of other people named Dot, and I'm like, well, I got to do something different. And so I did that, and then I found a couple years later that there was some rapper named Dot Diggler, and all my friends on Facebook like literally bombarded this dude and like sent him all these messages and stuff like man. And I tried to hit him up and I was like, yo man, let's do some kind of collab, bro. I'll bring you out to Seattle and we can like, you know, be like some kind of duo or something. And he didn't respond. I was kind of bummed out. I was hoping to like, you know, extend an arm out and be like, yo man, let's do something cool since we got the same name. And yeah, he wasn't having it. So.
And what happened? He wasn't having it or what?
No, he wasn't having it.
Huh. Where's he from? Do you know where he's from?
I think the dude was from Chicago. Pretty sure. I think it was Chicago. And he was like some gangster rapper dude. And I was like, yo, man, what's up, bro? I was like,
there's a magnificent DJ Dot. I found an image of magnificent DJ Dot present Best of House.
huh. That's magnificent.
That is magnificent.
I don't know. The other dude. Wait, there's a photo from MySpace. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I found him. It's Cream aka Dot Diggler.
Let me see. I gotta see it.
Oh, dude. It's definitely not you. Hold on. Let me find.
On MySpace.
I dug it up on MySpace, dude.
Yeah, that's old school.
Let me show you here. That's the dude.
I think that's him.
That's you. But I think this is him with his head cut off. But maybe he's doing some other things.
Wait, it's a variety show. He's copying all kinds of shit.
What's that?
Go back to the one with the purple. It said variety show. No, other purple. The with the words.
I think I DJ'd that party. I think that was something that I did.
Yeah, it's mostly you, dude. It's mostly you, but maybe this is him.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yep, that's him. That's the guy.
That's a Twitter guy. Hey, Dot Diggler.
That's definitely the guy. I literally was like, hey man, I'll pay for your flight if you want to come out. Let's do something. And he just never. He saw it and he didn't respond. So
I think everybody should go tweet this dude and be like, hey Dot, I want to come to Burning Man. How do I do it?
Oh my gosh. Woo!
And just keep asking him. Like
yeah.
put it on your calendar, like recurring Tuesday event to tweet Dot Diggler.
I wonder if the guy even has a Twitter account.
Yeah, it said he had Twitter.
Oh.
It's on the screen, so if you saw that when I did it, you could go tweet him. And then there's Dot Diggler on the DJ list. We'll have one more bit of fun. Let's see who this is. Does anybody even use the DJ list anymore? Do you, Dot?
What is that? I don't even know what it is.
Exactly, dude. Somebody asked me, somebody the other day was tweeting about, it was someone famous, they were tweeting about like, I think it was Mix Mag or maybe the top, some vote contest thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I was like, like my honest thought was, do people even read? Like, I mean, does anybody read the DJ, like the Mix Mag top? I mean, I guess somebody does.
Probably the people that are on it.
I guess. I mean, I guess it's important. Actually, outside of the moving on from the burn and all that kind of stuff, how do y'all think people find engage like a popular DJ these days? Like how does that happen? Like how does it, you know what I'm saying?
SoundCloud, I think.
So like a gazillion follows and likes on SoundCloud and plays and all?
Right, even if it's generic, you know, like it's kind of like how a lot of promoters gauge booking people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a list in New York that you know, you can sign up for, and it's you know, it shows everybody and what you do and all that, and then at the bottom it's like how many SoundCloud followers do you have, how many Twitter like it's all social media on it to get booking.
It's like aggregating all your social stats.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would imagine at this point there's probably some website that sort of creates some sort of, you know, it's like that clout website. I think that's what they tried to do, but it wasn't specific to music. I think it was just specific to vanity in general. But I think that there's probably within the music, you know, there's probably something like you said that does that. It kind of does some sort of algorithm based on a combination of SoundCloud and YouTube and whatever. And that seems like, I mean, I guess that seems like as good a way. I don't know. Do y'all think that or like, do you think these voting things where people opt in to vote, or do you think collecting that information automatically kind of like from the socials, which one do you think is a better indicator?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If there was like a top, you know, if there was like a top 100 that was created from voting from fans, or a top 100 that was created from that kind of, you know, the bots running around and checking your stuff and figuring out some way to calculate who's the top.
I would hope that people would go for the fans, obviously.
Yeah,
you know, like
I would think so. I think that's what the DJ list is still trying to do, but sadly, I just don't think anybody takes the time to really go mess with it or mix mag either one.
I think the people that normally make the top of those are the ones that are top billed at like festivals. So if you think about, you know, who's going to festivals and who's voting for that, I think it's just probably based on that.
Yeah, because they usually shortlist it. It's usually shortlisted who you can actually vote for, and then like way at the bottom, there's like other your entry. You know what I'm saying? Like, have y'all ever done one of those where you try to get people to vote for you?
Yeah.
Actually, no.
I think I might have once a long time ago, like when the internet began.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I wish. Now knowing Dot Diggler, I wish way back then, and probably for most of my musical involvement, I wish I had thought about branding Otter Pops, because I swear if you just stood on the sidewalk in Pacific Beach where I live and you handed out Otter Pops with the requirement that you like hold up your smartphone and vote for me right now, you would probably win all of them.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. I think we're onto something here, Dot. Hey, Dot, do you want to there's not enough time this year for me to figure it out, but you know, ideas are born and then it takes a little while to get them into action. But seriously, if you would do it with me, maybe
I'm down. Let's do it.
What's that?
Let's do it. I'm down.
He's already down.
Absolutely.
This is the plan, and don't steal the idea from Dot and I, please, because I had never seen it at Burning Man. I want to get one of those like tourist like 4-person bicycles, and or like the 3-wheeler for 2 people, and we'll legitimately put the Yeti cooler on the back and some dry ice and like 400 Otter Pops, dude. And we're gonna ride around in, I don't know, you could wear the Oscar costume and maybe I'll be Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be Bert or Ernie. Come on.
Well, I could be Elvis. I have a really legit Elvis costume, so
Yeah.
we could be Elvis and Oscar the Grouch.
That's like totally opposite ends of the spectrum too, you know, because Elvis was pretty happy dude, right?
Right?
So I think that would work out, but we need like some kind of self-powered speaker system so we can DJ while we're doing this.
Oh, there's no doubt. We're at least going to be, at least whoever's the co-pilot must be playing like the world's smallest controller.
Yes.
Like with your fingers or something. Like maybe it's only big enough for your fingers to like that. they're out there. You know, there's little controllers
an iPad.
Plug an iPod into. Well, just
Yep.
an iPad. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
They actually
The
have
Serato app.
they have the wireless Orbit. Have you seen that thing?
No, tell me about
So you
it.
can like you can like basically like ghost ride the DJ booth, and you just go out in the crowd and you're playing on this little tiny wireless. It's called an Orbit. I think Newmark makes it, and it looks like a Simon Says.
See if you can find it, Kelly. The Orbit. What other equipment? What controller do you use, Dot? By the way, since you mentioned you use controller, what do you like?
I have a Monster. I have a Denon, the new Denon. It's an all-in-one. It's got the USB drives on it. It's like it's basically a little cheaper version of the Pioneer, but I like the Denon because it's just like a Newmark, and I've been using Newmark controllers for years.
Yeah. I mean, is there really that much difference at this point with the all-in-ones, you know, per se?
I don't think so. I mean, money-wise, yeah, it costs. I think the Pioneer's like $2,500 versus $1,500 for the Denon.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I just would have thought they're less expensive than that now. But man, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would take 2,000. I mean, I know it's the retail price, but like here. I guess this is my parallel. So you look at a CDJ Nexus 2000 Nexus, whatever V2, whatever the latest one is, right, for the CDJ, not the touring one, but the club one. And you look at that, and it's like $2,500 list. And then you look at, I mean, basically take your choice of smartphone and look at all the shit that thing does for $600 or $300, maybe at the bottom end of the full-on smartphone, you know, Android, and maybe it goes up to $600 or $700 with Apple, you know, iOS. But doesn't that seem a little weird? Like, what? I mean, the CDJ is bigger, but you're not paying for electronics by the pound. It's like, how much shit does it do for me?
Or you could just take the $2,500 and go to Burning Man.
And maybe someone will gift you a dusty CDJ.
Yes.
One that fell off an art car.
Man, I don't know. It's crazy though. Denon, Pioneer, these guys. It definitely feels like. I mean, I finally broke down and got some new CDJs because like 2 years ago, whatever was new at the time, 2000 Nexus, I think it just come out. So I finally broke down and bought some. I bought them used, new to me, but used off eBay. But they were pretty close to new, and basically unboxed, I guess. And I mean, I had to do it because everywhere I went, like that's what was in every club. So like, how could you show up and not know how to like kind of use a CDJ beyond pressing play? You know?
Right.
It was just kind of weird. It's kind of forced into it, but it does feel a little. It feels a little like overreaching. I guess I gotta say, it feels a little overreaching for some of these equipment makers when you can get an iPhone or a Samsung, you know, whatever's the awesomest, and all the shit that thing will do for you, versus like what a CDJ does. And it's not like it's got any moving parts, dude. You know, it's not like there's a magnet platter in it like an old 1200. That kind of made sense, right? You would go, both of y'all, do you remember when you would be like, oh, I'm going to get a 1200, it's going to cost $400?
Yeah, right.
And everybody would be like, oh shit, you might need to get a Panasonic belt drive for $50 so you could practice. And you could, and it would basically be the same experience when you got in the club. You would be like, oh, this is fantastic. Like this shit actually starts when you press play.
Yeah. You don't have to babysit the pitch.
Yeah, right. You don't have to be like this trying to get your little belt drive thing going.
Right.
But it wasn't like you were a fish out of water, you know? So anyway, kind of fun.
Well, the technology now is so much different than like even a couple years ago. You look at the new CDJs versus the old ones, and you're like, it's like speaking Swahili, you know?
Oh, it's crazy, man. Like you get what was it, the CDJ 400 or was it the 800, the first one that had the little wheel?
Right.
Right. It looked like a tiny little like English muffin. Like that size. And it's just so funny. Like, I think it's awesome. Like the things we figure out, it's like when it's brand new and you're like, oh shit, pitch control and a jog wheel on a CDJ, and it's like that big. And then everyone's super stoked and everyone learns like the shit out of it. And then for whatever reason, the 8-inch one comes along, and that doesn't work anymore. And now everyone's on that, and then they learn how to do wizardry with that thing. And then you look at the old one, like that's kind of weird. But then, ironically, now we've come all the way back around to what Dot and I are going to have on the Otter Pop cart.
Right.
Right. You know, in fact, if we can work out the tires and stuff on the cart to be heavy duty enough to where like 2 people could pedal, so you could carry a little more load, you could probably have a third person on the back that could sit on the cooler and just make sure nobody like runs up and snatches one without proper teaching, you know. And that person could
Not it.
that person could DJ.
Yeah, that's funny.
We got to be careful here, though, Doc, because one of my worst nightmares, honestly, if I have any kind of nightmare about Burning Man, one of my worst nightmares, and Kelly probably knows this is coming, is that I end up somehow getting roped into creating an art car.
And it just happened.
No. That's a. I don't think that's considered an art car because you can go over 5 miles an hour if
it's an otter car.
If it's pedal powered, it's an otter car.
Otter car.
That's such a good idea. We're gonna make it. It's gonna be an otter golf cart.
Yeah.
When you put it into an otter, it'll have like an otter face and some stuff, whatever, and yeah. And we'll give out otter pops.
It's gonna totally be a actual otter looking thing around the bus. Yeah. And it's gonna have a dot right there.
It should. It's gotta have sideburns too, though.
You should have
Ben. A dot with sideburns.
Yeah. You could bring Ben Otter to be the DJ. Then you'd really have an otter cart.
That is too funny, man. We'll come up with something funky, man. I'll get slight intermission. New album came out a week and a half ago. Magic Carpet Ride. But my point in picking this up was it was just sitting here. And my point in picking this up, Dot, was that maybe I can get Brant Sumo Fish, who does my art for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I could get him to draw some super cool otter pop type art or something. And then we could make something super lightweight, you know, relatively inexpensive and super lightweight. I found this place, man. You're familiar with like CNC and laser cutting, Dot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you know that's pretty economical these days, right?
Right. It's not that expensive at all.
Yeah. So when I was making the headphones for the jellyfish, they're the ones that's inspired by, that's on the wall, but I have the 3D versions that I'll bring to Burning Man this year. But anyway, when I was trying to make the headphones for them, it got real complicated just dealing with a bunch of shit. So I finally just designed them in Illustrator and then went and found a CNC shop to cut them for me. And I was blown away, man. The material is pretty inexpensive. It was like maybe a couple bucks per square foot. And then they charged me like maybe $20 or $25 a unit to cut them. I did 4 of them. So, I mean, you know, but they look slick, man. They're like super tough and like out of this composite PVC material. It's like that thick, like an inch thick.
Yeah, you can make car parts with that stuff now. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. You can actually a buddy of mine just bought a 3D printer, and he actually souped up his printer with the 3D printer, and he made the parts for his printer with his printer to make it better. I was tripped out. I'm like, dude,
that's like artificial intelligence. It's like the robot creating its own parts.
Right? That's exactly what he did. It was crazy, dude. I was blown away. Like he fixed his headphones. He broke his headphones, and he had this 3D printer, and he actually fixed them with he looked it up online and found this program to where you could 3D print the replacement part for the headphones, and he was good as new. I was like, damn, man, that's pretty fresh.
That's really cool. You've heard of probably some of these crazy stories where like somebody, some engineer nerd dude that likes guns, you know, he went out and put like all the parts to make a 9mm or whatever, you know, and like
plastic.
Yeah, basically put it out there, and like if you got the right material for your 3D printer, you could just take the model and print the fucking gun.
Yeah.
and assemble the parts, and there you go. You got a Glock, you know. And you remember that went all crazy a couple years ago. Like everybody got all up in arms about that, but it's just it is what it is, man. I mean, it's not that, you know, the model file size. I messed with a couple of them, but that's cool. Like what you're talking about. I mean, but that's the reality of it, right? You can, if you're really kind of a, you know, a meddler, engineer, tweaker. It's kind of like the modern, you know, like I guess I've only heard stories, but you know, way back in the day before the Windows computer or whatever, you know, that you read these biographies of Gates and Jobs and Larry Ellison, these kind of people, all these tech dudes, they, you know, they were all like, they would be like members of these computer clubs where you would get parts, right?
Right.
You know? So it's kind of like the modern version of that, I guess. You could just print your stuff at home.
Yeah, it's a trip. I actually want to buy one of those. That's probably my next purchase after the burn.
after you don't buy it because you're gonna drop cash at the burn.
Can you 3D print art car?
What's that?
I said, can you 3D print an art car?
Well, that's kind of what I mean. I was thinking about using the 3D printer to like build replacement parts for my RV that keeps getting stolen.
Oh yeah, your RV keeps getting stolen.
Your RV got stolen?
It's
Many times.
Been stolen twice. It's been stolen twice.
How did you get it back? Like what? Like where did you find it?
I mean, it has a humongous Slut Garden logo on the back. So, like, the people that stole it, like, they have to be the dumbest thieves in the world because, like, it's the most conspicuous RV you could ever find. Like, they picked the one RV that has a giant graffiti logo that says Slut Garden on the back of it, and everyone knows it's mine. So they steal it, and it ends up in, like, a suburb of Seattle. And a friend of mine calls me and they're like, hey, my friend just sent me a picture of this RV that says Slut Garden on the back of it because they thought it was so funny. And I'm like, okay, well, park behind that thing. I'm on my way to get it because it was stolen from me. You know, so, like, it happened twice. And
that's crazy, dude.
The second time I rolled up to it, and it was before the cops had just showed up. And I went to unlock it because I didn't want him to tow it. And this topless, like 80-pound tweaker chick jumps out like a velociraptor and like starts running down the street. And the cops like both look at each other and they kind of shrugged and they just kind of let her go. Then, because they were just dumbfounded by it, you know. I mean, this chick was fast, dude. I was like, holy cow.
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle for that gangster.
She was barefoot too on top of it. And I was like, dude, how is she running so fast? And I was like,
did you bring her back from the burn and forget? Because it sounds to me like you were leaving the burn, you got hungry, you stopped at Empire at the one pizza spot, and like someone boarded your RV and made it back to Seattle.
He was giving out Otter Pops. She was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now she's in your RV.
So the funny thing is after she jumps out, then this like big burly like tweaker Mexican dude jumps out. And so like they just like hemmed him up and took him to jail or whatever. And
oh man, that's some profiling right there.
If he ran faster, he would have been fine.
I mean, he didn't really try to run. He was
like, he got out and he was like, oh man, again.
He was twist-flexing, dude. He was like so high still that he like was trying to transform, I guess, or something. I don't know. It was crazy.
Oh, man. Sounds to me like you had some. Sounds to me like you might have had a little bit of you know, street life action going on in your RV.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not taking it this year because like they destroyed the steering column and like stole all my stereo stuff out of it, and like it would just cost too much money to bring it back. So I'm doing the yurt again this year. I'm not taking. I'm not living luxury.
Oh, but
I mean, if I wasn't in a trailer or RV, I think a yurt would definitely be my second choice.
Oh, it's. I mean, it's plush.
Yeah, they're pretty tight.
It stays cooler than being in an RV.
Yeah, I believe that. It's just the reflective, and then you get that little 8,000 BTU AC unit, crank it in there.
Yep.
And it's not such a big space to cool, you know, like my trailer, your RV, those things, they a lot of space to cool them. So I'm like, half my obsession this year, which I don't know why, but is figuring out like easy ways to make, like relatively easy ways to make, shade structure type thing. So I found this. I did some research throughout the year. I found this military, that military fabric material.
Mm-hmm.
I found some blue so I could at least feel like I was in an aquarium. But it's like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the way that this is like cheap, so it doesn't look like it'll fall apart. I did some kind of tear tests on it, just to see if normal wind. We get some pretty high wind out here at the beach in Pacific Beach. Not quite as high as the highest I've seen at Burning Man, but definitely high. Like it's definitely enough to like, blow all the shade structures down the beach and stuff. So this stuff's pretty cool. Like it's we'll see what it does. There's only like $10 for like a 100-foot, or 50-foot piece of it. So I'm gonna try that out and see if I can get just a little more shade on the old trailer.
Army surplus?
What's that?
Army surplus? Did you get that at the Army surplus store?
I bought it off an Army surplus joint on Amazon.
Nice.
We'll see. I mean, hopefully it's not like. I mean, I haven't really ever used it a lot. I mean, I've used other people's or helped them do it out at Burning Man. It seemed to work pretty well. So I think as long as it doesn't, get all moopy and fall apart, it's probably fine. It's some kind of nylon, nylon composite polyester material. Seems pretty tough. But yeah, if you buy it without all the edging and binding on it, and like my plan is just going to be to clip it to the ropes that I use to do all the stake corners and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let you know in about 3 weeks how that worked out.
Send me a smoke signal.
I'll let you. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I see you at Slut Garden how that worked out.
Right. I'll see you on the Dusty Rhino before that.
Oh right, you're playing, man. That's right. Awesome.
Yeah, I play right after.
I'm glad you got in touch with Brian. He's a cool cat.
Yeah, good looking out on that, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. No doubt. He's a cool dude, and they had me come up and play. They had a Valentine's Day party called Rhino Love. It was a fundraiser.
Right,
they had me come up and play that at Public Works. That was such a fun party, man. Yeah, that was great. So they do things there in the city as well, outside of Burning Man. So speaking of which, kind of like as we kind of maybe getting to the end of our time here, speaking of one last thing on Burning Man, you were talking about the whole I think it's an interesting point. You were talking about your Fraktured shirts and whether you do or don't bring that kind of stuff and hand it out. Like, what's the whole? Does anyone know? Like, what's the whole origin of? I guess they call it decommodification, right?
Right.
So you see people for sure. Like, I mean, what I don't get is like, okay, so you feel weird. Like I would kind of feel weird. Like if I don't take like juice stickers out there, right? And give them to people, or juice buttons or whatever, because quote unquote that isn't supposed to be done. But then you see like camps, which are clear, they're clearly a Burning Man camp or some, our car or whatever. And then you see outside of Burning Man, they're doing stuff to make money. So how does that all work?
That's a good question. I think there's a fine line in that. Like as long as the money is going towards getting the camp back to the playa, it's acceptable.
Okay. That makes sense.
But if you're using that money that you make off of your Burning Man camp to line your own pockets with it, that's just nah.
Well, let me ask you this question. So nobody gets paid, for example, to do anything at Burning Man, and that surprises a lot of people. Except, people that aren't really part of Burning Man, like maybe if you hire a contractor or someone that comes out and builds some crazy thing or whatever. But I think even then it's not supposed to be done. But we know that kind of happens. And those people usually aren't, quote unquote participants in Burning Man, right?
Right.
So, that kind of, like you said, it's a fine line. That kind of makes sense. But what isn't a fine line is this, and I think this is kind of interesting. This is what got me thinking about it. So if we know DJs don't get paid, like we know that, like DJs, artists, entertainment, that kind of stuff. You got to buy a ticket, you got to be there, whatever. So if that's the case and you're part of a camp and you don't get paid because that's the rules at Burning Man, then when there's a party, even if it's raising money, like you said, that goes back to, to get the thing back out to Burning Man, then how is it justified that anybody DJing at said party is paid?
Yeah. I mean, funny thing is I actually reached out to a couple of the people in the breakbeat community.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't drop names. So that being said,
no, I'm not trying to rag on anybody. I'm honestly like, I've been trying to understand this for like 4 years.
But it's yeah, like, I guess the camps think it's okay to pay the headlining acts outside of the burn to come play their parties to get people to come to the parties to pay for the camp to get back to the playa.
Right. It is bizarre, but it's just bizarre, right? Like it's an interesting,
right?
Interesting. It's just an interesting kind of phenomenon, I guess, and it sounds really discretionary.
Yeah. So like another thing that's funny is like when you have camps that don't go to the burn every year, but they still throw fundraisers.
Oh shit. Well, I don't know. So okay, so fine. Let's just say that maybe they didn't raise enough money to go to the burn, or management of the people in charge of the camp that year. It felt, whatever. Susie broke up, or Jim broke up with his significant other, and everything fell apart and they couldn't go. Fine. These things happen. So I guess to your point, so they raised money, they did their thing, right? And then like, I wonder if Burning Man, like the org, because they put out all these guidelines, right? But I wonder if there's like any form of them checking up on this stuff.
I doubt it.
Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Not unless it's probably like very, very obvious and people call attention to it. Because
right.
Yeah. I mean,
now you both and I,
yeah.
We all know, especially in the music and entertainment business,
Yeah.
we all know that if you take 70,000 people, you're going to find some unscrupulous mofos in that group.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a high percentage of tree fell, no one was around, so.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. A lot.
I mean, anyway, it doesn't, like, I think it's funny, and it's been interesting to figure it out, because the reason I think it's funny, it has nothing to do with me personally, but I've dealt with, prior to anything to do with Burning Man, I've dealt with normal world entertainment, stuff, and that's as crooked as like Joshua Tree, so it's almost kind of funny that what goes on in many cases, I guess, in the burner world, it's almost funny that there would even be this notion that anyone would believe that someone's going to follow those rules, because the business is so crazy crooked outside of that, right?
Sometimes.
I think that the rules are being bent more and more and more as it becomes more and more mainstream. Like
that's a good point. When it was smaller, it was probably way more of like groups of people that maybe really were all friends or something, right? Like maybe they actually all knew each other at one point.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kelly, you don't have 2 cents worth of default world economics?
No, not right now.
I just want to. She's like, I just want to
pass on that one.
I just want to play my shows. I'll probably never get to play a party again after this show. after having peeled back the onion of the default world. No, but I've experienced a ton of this stuff in the default, quote unquote, default world. So I am glad. Like I'm glad that my 4 years of experiences with Burning Man have all been good. One thing, and I think partly why I was talking about this is like anybody listening, I do think one lesson learned for me personally that I gained out of all this, in particular to this, the whole music, paid, not paid, all that stuff, is you have the most fun at Burning Man when you expect nothing.
Absolutely.
That is 100% true. And I think that's hard. That's different for everybody to kind of figure out how to expect nothing, because we're all used to expecting something, right? Like whether you're a programmer or carpenter or whatever it is you do, you know, nobody works for free usually in that capacity. So I think it's different for everybody, but that is one thing I absolutely agree with, is that, yeah, if you expect absolutely nothing, you will have the best possible burn you could have.
Well, that's kind of like what happened when we ended up playing together. That was
exactly the point. Like we didn't even expect to play
no.
or see each other, right?
Yeah.
So
you just popped up in my RV and we're like, "Yo, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Holy shit, what's up, bro?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Hey, man, you got your music with you?" And then you're like, "Let me go back to the camp real quick. I'll be back in a little bit." And I honestly didn't expect to see you again. I figured you got distracted or something. And then right before I went on, you popped up like, "Yo, let's do this." And I think, were you wearing your Elvis suit?
Yeah, I was wearing an Elvis suit that someone gifted to me, dude.
That's right.
Somebody brought it. This guy Nabil, he brought it and he like gifted it to me, dude. When does that happen, dude? When does somebody gift you an Elvis outfit?
Yeah, I mean, last time I checked, those things aren't cheap, even the cheap ones.
I have no idea, and that was like a one-piece jumpsuit, all pretty cool. I may bring it this year. I got a nice belt that I got. I found a belt that'll go with it now. I didn't have a really belt with that thing. It looked a little bit like Evel Knievel. If you were missing the wig and the belt, you kind of look like Evel Knievel if you're wearing an Elvis outfit. But
how'd you get out of that thing?
Yeah, dude, it's tough. You need to have assistance. You need to have assistance, or you gotta like, you know, it's kind of hard.
I think this year is probably going to be the most fun I've ever had at the Burn, honestly, because of everything that's going on.
I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to be coming to play at least once with you, maybe twice. That'll be fun. Love that stage. Love that camp. Thanks to everybody over there. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Kelly, it's going to be awesome. You're there again this year. Be fun. We'll find each other.
Well, I'll see you Thursday.
That, at least that. And yeah, cool. So awesome, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Dot, and
thanks for having me, man.
Sharing all your Burning Man stories and all that awesomeness.
I'm definitely gonna have to take a trip down to San Diego sometime soon.
You got to do it, dude. Yeah, you got to do it, man. We'll try to figure out some way to make something happen, I guess, while you're here. I'm only doing a couple parties a year down here that I actually am in charge of. So, you know, maybe if the timing on something like that works out. But like I said, I'm doing like 4 a year. I'm not as busy with my own parties as the Fraktured crew is.
Yeah, well, I need to get you back up. Like, at least, have you played Portland at all?
No, I've not played Portland. Just
okay.
Yet.
Huh. All right.
But it's awesome. We'll figure it out. I mean, it's awesome. I've been seeing what you're doing. It's cool to hear all about it on here. And you know, Phoenix is a couple different people have hit me up from there over the years. Never made it there yet. Bend, I love Bend. That's just fun.
Yeah, it is
all
fun.
All places you talked about are places I had not visited probably until last summer when I did that road trip up to Canada, and I love some of those places. So I think, you know, it's all West Coast. It's pretty easy travel. So yeah, dude, let's figure something out.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Kelly, I'm gonna get you involved too, for sure.
Woo!
So
yeah, awesome, man.
It's all about linking everybody together, man. It's what I'm trying to do, you know, like basically copying what you're doing, man, you know, because you literally have linked me with so many people in the breakbeat community. It's ridiculous. You're like, it's insane.
That's what he does.
You know, it's the only way, you know, man, it's the only way. I was talking to somebody the other day about this. I think it might have been ShYo. I can't totally remember, but or maybe a couple different people, but I was just saying, you know, it's funny, like you find this is more the entertainment default world, entertainment business. You know, you run into I run into a surprising number of people who, you know, they really put sort of opportunism or opportunistic things ahead of just being a good person. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, yeah, I just think it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a serious topic, but I think that it's funny because if you're involved in anything really, but let's just stick with music, but if you're involved with that for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, and that whole time you're constantly sort of sidestepping being a good person in light of, you know, the next deal or the better thing or more Facebook likes or whatever, that for me personally, that would like be just a lonely venture, man.
Absolutely.
You know? And the reality is, you know, when you look back at stuff like that, is you have absolutely no control, dude, over what happens. Like all you can really do is create, whether it's mixes or songs or whatever it is you create. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a, you know, publicist or doing advertising, these kind of things. But again, you're really just creating and broadcasting it. You know, you know, you can do that and the world either likes it or it doesn't. But to have a personality where you just like don't work with people because, I mean, maybe you're busy, that's fine. But, you know, that's cool. But if you know what I'm saying, this thing, if you just don't work with people because it's not a stepping stone for you, that's a lonely road, my friend.
Absolutely.
So that is why, you know, that's kind of my short explanation to anyone listening, young, old, or in the middle. You know, it just, you know, I understand people have time commitments. You know, you can only do so much, so that's fair enough. But, you know, if the reasons you're not working with somebody or introducing them to somebody, you know, if the reasons are because, you know, you don't want them to get the gig next instead of you, maybe they're actually better than you and you know it. Things like that. It's just, you know, I see no point in getting in the way of that. Just let it happen, you know?
It's probably going to happen anyway.
That's exactly that. Like I said, you can't control it. Just like you can't control how people receive your art or your creation, you can't control those things either, you know? So it's like it's like the you know, the dating term, like cock blocking somebody, right? Like it just right? Like to be blunt, like there's no point. What's the difference? Like, you know, the people are going to get together anyway, whether you like it or not, right? Anyway, that's the positive twist on networking people and why I do it, man. It's just you never know, you know, and you never know who you might meet or introduce some people, and maybe they would have never met otherwise, and they end up having an awesome relationship. Maybe even different than what mine was with either of those people. And that's a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely.
Damn right.
I couldn't agree with
absolutely
that.
Cool, man. So cool, dude. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out for a couple hours, man. I got to get out of here because it's going to get dark and I don't have my bike lights.
Do you have any, do you have some links to link us to you in the future?
Yeah, man. Where can people find you? Your music, your party, whatever it is. Lay it out.
We got our Fraktured page. We have a Fraktured Life page coming up. We have a website that's actually in the process right now. You can find me on Facebook, DJ Dot Diggler. I don't have a Twitter. I have a SoundCloud that's DJ Dot Diggler. I don't have a Mixcloud. I'm just kind of like trying to promote other people and push this Fraktured thing more than promote myself at the moment. So it's working.
All right.
I like the vibe. It goes back and forth. That's cool, man. All right, so go find Dot Diggler, and if you're at the Burn, come find us all. And if not, then I don't know what to tell you.
Don't
stay classy, yo. That's all I can really say.
Stay classy.
Later, everybody.